and welcome to episode 4 Purple Rain TLT preview Storm versus the Cowboys on Saturday night. Aaron, how you going, my man?
I'm going good. Bit warm. Just got home from basketball, but yep, going good.
Just got home from. Did you win?
That's my rosy red cheeks. That's why. Yeah. Now we did. We won by
It's
1 point.
one by a point. Was
Yes,
it
we got
a?
that.
Did you? Was it a buzzer beater shot, or you just defended well?
No, we were up by one, and they had one shot to well, take the lead, but missed.
Nice. And what position do you play?
No, we just played domestic basketball. We run around like headless chooks, mate.
2-3 zone, headless chooks.
That's it.
And how's your week been?
Yeah, not too bad really. We busy week at work. Few people away, but good with the family, good with the kids. Everything's going good, mate. How about you?
Look, we're okay. Yeah, going really well. I'm a lawn person, so I re-leveled out my beautiful grass out the front, and it looks shocking because there's sand and rock all over it. But yeah, so I'm just heavily washing and trying to get all the sand through the grass. And my family's good, mate, and we have recovered from a tough loss last weekend.
That's good. That's good.
This is what we're all ready for, though. There's been a little whisper. I've had a few messages. We've had a few reminders on the page about the jersey giveaway, Aaron. And guess
Yes.
what? We have a winner. We had about, I think so we had over 100 people in, but we had only a select few who liked and commented and tagged the post, who followed us on Facebook, followed us on Instagram, and also went and followed City Sports. They also have followed one of our listening platforms. And we've got one winner. Aaron, I'm thinking maybe a little drum roll or something, just to let us all know, let us all go. Here we go. And the winner of the jersey giveaway is Natasha Young. Natasha Young, if you could message the page, get into us, let us know. We will organise to get that jersey to you via shipping. Aaron will organise that for you. But you just have to get in and message the page as soon as possible so that everyone knows what's going on. We'll post this up tomorrow afternoon just to give a few people to watch the show, see if we can get a little bit of excitement around the jersey giveaway through the show. And listening before we put it out there. Just, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to. I suppose some people might say I'm a bit nasty, Aaron.
That's it. That's the fun of being in charge, isn't it?
Yeah. The jerseys, I'm not even in charge, eh? I'm just the one talking about it. The jersey's at your house, which is 2 states away, man.
That's it. It is here. It is here, and I will ship it to wherever it goes. Well done, Natasha. Well done, and thanks for everyone for getting involved.
Yeah, thanks everyone. So, followers grew through the roof, which we didn't expect. Some of the stories on the page were just fantastic. I did see you get in there a couple of times there, Aaron, and I tried to get through there a bit just to comment. There's a few videos and stuff I'd love to see of kids and stuff like that. So, it's fantastic. I know City Sports and the fellas and the crew over there are ecstatic. They've got a few more followers and watchers in the social context, which is fantastic, and that's what it's all about. And
Yeah, give
yeah,
a big shout out to
we've got
those
a
guys for jumping on board. That's awesome. Yeah, get around City Sports. He's a good guy, and he's a big Storm supporter. So yeah, get around and follow him. And if you can't get what you want through the club, your next option is City Sports, guys. So get on that.
yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely, it's fantastic. And stay tuned for the next giveaways. It's not too far away. We'll leave that as a little bit of a surprise for later on. But yeah, mate. First of all, I want to try something a little bit different. Hopefully you read my agenda. If you didn't, this will be even more funnier. But just a quick one. What's one thing that you've noticed over the last few days? What's something? what's something around? It could be NRL related, could be non-NRL related. What's something? It's just a bit of fun, bit of an icebreaker. I wouldn't mind. We might try this every Tuesday, see what happens, and then we might try and get some people in the comments and see how they can go. What's something they've noticed?
The biggest one that I've noticed is that diesel's $3 a litre.
Oh, is it that? Is that
What's
how much it is down there?
$2.99 today? What is going on?
Oh, $3.06 up here.
Three
Three
dollars
dollars
and
and
six
six
cents.
cents.
Oh well, we're going to have to
Insane.
sell
Two
arms and
weeks
legs
ago
and
it was
organs.
$1.64.
Yeah, and I suppose it's running out quicker. So yeah, if there's a black market to get rid of some arms, legs, limbs, sign me up.
What do you drive, Aaron?
I drive to be honest, it's a work car, so it's not too bad. But it's a Nissan Ute.
It's a Nissan. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I drive a Nissan Navara, and I'm lucky I only drive 8 minutes to get to work every day, so I don't have to go too far. We've decided because fuel's so expensive not to go anywhere. What have I noticed? Look, most people that know me know that I'm a massive basketball fan, and one of my favorite times of the year is March. March is just such a fun time of the year. NRL starts, AFL starts, NBA's kicking into almost playoffs time, and my favorite tournament of all tournaments of anything around is March Madness, which is college basketball's major tournament. And I have watched some of the best basketball games I've ever seen in my life, and so I just thought I'd give that a bit of a shout out. And if anyone in the comments has been watching it, I'd happily analyze, get in the comments there, and sorry, anyone that's watching, get in the comments and talk to me about some of the March Madness tournament because it's been freaking awesome, man. It's been awesome. I highly recommend it. If you're a basketball fan, go and watch it. ESPN. Um, I'm just gonna let's go to what we're after. So Saturday night we play 7:35 against the Cowboys. I'm just going to pull up our team list here and we'll talk about it. So we've got. I'll start with the Cowboys. So at the Scott Drinkwright at the 1, Braden Burns 2, Jackson Purdue 3. Laybot comes in for Chester's suspension for the 1 week hit that he had. So he goes into the centres. Murray Taulagi 5 out on the wing there. Then in the halves, you've got Clifford and Dearden. In the front row, Cohen Hess wearing the 8 jersey and Tal Malolo wearing the 10 with Reed Marnie in between there as the hooker. On the edges, they've got Helam Lukey and Sam McIntyre. And in the 13, Ruben Cotter. Off the bench, Sonny Luke, Kai O'Donnell, Griffin Neem, Harrison Edwards, Thomas McKaylee in the 18, and rounding out their 19 is Liam Sutton. For us, no real major changes. I'll read through it anyways, but no real major changes except for, which I'll say in a second. So Sewer is Falonga at the 1, Warbrick in the 2, with Meany on the other wing, Howarth and Leo in the centres. Our halves, Munster Hughes. At prop for us is Stefano and King, 8-10 respectively. Harry Grant in the hooker position. We've got on the edges Joe Chan and Alec McDonald getting his second start there as a second rower. And the only real change that's happened is Liero comes in for Tui, which pushes Tui Kamakamika to the bench as Liero gets his normal starting lock position. In the 14, we've got Tyron Wishart, then Cooper Clark, Tui in the 16, Davey Moali 17, Hetherington at the 18, and ST Brown, Tuamaladu Brown, rounding out our 19 with our reserves, Valepu, Wadarera, and Toalau. Now, Aaron, just initially, what's your thoughts?
I think it's great that we've put Trent back to start. Don't get me wrong, I thought Tui did a really good job last week there when he did get the chance, or maybe that wasn't by design, that was just to ease Trent back into it. But Trent starting really sets a tone for us. He'll get out there, he'll hit hard, and he'll try and slow down the play as much as he can. So I think that's a good start. And I think this week I'd like to see use the bench a bit more for some impact. I think we've got a few names on there that we only used 16 last week. We didn't go all the way deep into the bench. So I think I'd like to see yeah, the bench get used a little bit more maybe this week. It's not saying they're an easier side, but I do think we got a chance to give a few guys a run that might be able to make some impact.
I I'll touch on that sort of point in a minute, in terms of an easier team, which is something I hope we don't get in our heads, because any team in the NRL can beat any team on any given day. But I certainly know exactly what you're saying. I'm a very big fan of Trent Liero back in the 13. Look, he does make mistakes, we get that, but we live and die by what he does, because there are some most of his positives far outweigh that. I think we're a better team with him as the 13, and definitely with Tui coming off the bench, just for that impact. Not saying that he hasn't played well over the last 3 weeks. I mean, you gave him a vote in Player of the Game
It
for
was great.
last game, wasn't it? So, like, he's been really good and he's done what he had to do. I prefer his impact for 30 minutes off the bench as a forward. Um, and just that's just me. I love Cooper Clark getting another spot. I'm still not entirely sold on our edge back rowers. So Chan, I think, has been fantastic, but McDonald in the 12 just kind of worries me. But again, we are playing the Cowboys, so who knows in terms of that. But I think, to be fair, this is probably. I mean, I said this last week, but this is probably my favorite team of so far this year.
You know, as you said, Alec is a bit of a strange one to put out there on that edge, but I think he deserves to have another shot out there. I don't think he was bad last week. I think the
No,
edge
I agree.
defense out there as a whole might have been not clicking and not working together with a little bit more trust out there. And if everyone plays team defense rather than tries to get it done on their own, I I think it's worth a second chance. And we are going pretty deep into the roster now with the injuries that we've got. So below Alec, you're looking at bringing in kids that have played either no first grade games or single digit first grade games. So I think it's a good chance for Alec to have another crack out there. I think it's a good chance for Munster to really shore up that edge this week and try and fix I wouldn't say mistakes, but fix the issues that we seen last week with that edge defense, where the the best side in the comp, pretty much. I think you can call them that. I don't know if they are, but they're the premiers. You can, they picked us apart last week, so it's a chance to redeem themselves.
Yeah, I agree entirely. If you have a look at the Cowboys roster, what initially screams out to you is beware.
Oh, mate, they've got talent across the park, and to come into this game and think, oh, we're playing the Cowboys who have lost two and won one and scraped in against the Titans, I think that'd be a very silly way to go about this game. If you look who the Cowboys have actually got, they've got 5 or 6 Origin players and a few fringe Origin players in that squad, and if they turn up and we don't, they potentially could make us look very silly.
I agree, and there's two players that I'm really worried about in this game. It's one, their half, Tom Dearden. I in the past have said and spoken nothing but high praise about this guy. I think he's an absolute superstar in the making, and he's pretty much, if he wasn't up north at the Cowboys, I reckon he would be talked about as a superstar. His run, and his ability to lead and his kicking game is just underrated. So I worry about that. And the next one I worry about is these two players in a combination. Last week against the Titans, the Cowboys actually played pretty well, and it wasn't a bad game, by any means. We all kind of, there was a lot of chat and a lot of my groups calling the Cowboys Titans game to be a bit of a poo slinger, as NRL fans like to call bad games.
Hmm.
And so I wasn't super keen to watch it, but as a tragic, I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed the game. But one thing that I really I watched and worried about, was the combinations that Drinkwater and Jackson Purdue had. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a listener. If you're a super coach person, which I am very much so, and I know Aaron is, if you do not own Jackson Purdue, go and get him now because our left edge defense is one of the worst in the competition. And guess what side Jackson Purdue is on? And the dude is a freak. Um, I think I really worry about that combination with Drinkwater and Purdue. Aaron, have you got the sort of same thoughts?
Oh, definitely, he's a gun. He's a gun. I mean, they've talked about him potentially being fullback, but they've got that spot filled. So, look, he's a star of the future for sure, and the Cowboys have just locked him down. And if they can get the ball out through him and head out that way, yeah, he's going to cause dramas on that edge for sure. I think the thing that I noticed most with the Cows last week is they completed at 89%. They held the ball.
Yep.
Like they might have been 2 and zip or zip and 2 at that week, but in that game they held the ball and they had some good opportunities to score. So they are dangerous, and there's definitely a few dangerous players there.
Oh, they've got some serious attack. And players like a Hilam Lukey is very underrated because of his previous injury history. Ruben Cotter is just a force, just a defensive force, and does what he's got to do. They've got some really good players, and so have we. And if we have a look at our list and compare it, most of the matchups that you look at between the two, we pretty much win every one of them. So on paper, in my opinion, and that's a bit biased, but actually I pride myself on not being biased. There's not too many. There's a couple, but there's not too many that I adamantly would. And I could almost make an argument. Like Scott Drinkwater is a gun, but he has really poor defensive reads and issues, which is why there was talk about him being dropped. Against Sewer, I'd argue I like what Sewer's done and how he's provided and how he's played so far. I think Sewer's been better so far. Like that one and the meanie Taulungi. I'm a big fan of Taulungis. I'm a Queenslander, so I like as in Origin, and I think Taulungi's pretty rough to have not been in Origin the last couple of years. Obviously injury hurt him, but I'm a big fan of his, and I think that's another matchup that we lose. But across the board, I think most of it we are pretty close to being in front. But I want to touch on that point, and which is something that you sort of said before. This is the NRL. This is professionals. Any team at any time can beat them, can beat each other. And with the attacking firepower that the Cowboys have, yes, they're very bad defensively, but their attack can win them games alone. Does that worry you, Aaron?
Look, I think this game will be won in the middle. I think for us on the attack, I think we really want to hit him behind that ruck. I think we really want to get playing downhill and playing through the middle. And if we shift the ball, I think we need to shift there with purpose, not just like last week. We just seemed to head out to the wings and just get forced to the edges and really look like we didn't have any purpose when we were heading out wider. So I think I really think we need to get him behind the ruck, and I think Trent needs to really get him behind the ruck and then get a quick play of the ball for Harry to get downfield. And if we can do that and we can keep it in nice and tight, I think you might see a few points get put on.
Let's start with a bit of attack. What are some of the points in terms of how we can win this game with our own attack?
Hold the ball. Last week we had 10 handling errors. I think it's because we're trying to throw the ball, trying to make things happen when they're not there. The Storm have prided themselves for years on getting to a certain spot on the park, playing the calculated game, getting to a good kick, and then building pressure on the next set. Last week it just felt like we were forcing our way down the field, and our kicks were just ending up 15, 20, 25 metres from the line, and we were turning the ball over, giving them field position so easily. Now, I know that comes down to the Broncos being a pretty decent side, and they played pretty decent footy, but who's to say the Cowboys can't do the same thing and put the pressure on? So for me, I think Harry and Doozy need to find where they need to get on the park and communicate it and get there, because it looked a little bit like a headless chook last week. We were just running around hoping for points rather than with a plan.
Definitely in that second half, hey.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think and you'll see this in the blueprint that Aaron and I are working on at the moment, which will get released tomorrow, maybe Thursday. But as you said, and I'll piggyback off that. One of the things that have got us the first two wins, and that really got us that up in at first half against the Broncos, was our completion rating. Right? So we just need to complete sets. It's as simple as that. If we can complete sets, we get field position. That's how we can maintain our defensive shape. The Cowboys will score. It's as simple as that. That's what they do. They can score, and they can put the points on the board. We just need to complete the sets and continue to push them and bury them really deep. And it was something that I said sort of last week, and I know you said as well, Aaron, that we needed to do the same thing. But against these Cowboys team that has such good attacking firepower, we just need to keep them very buried into their try line.
Then another point there is, I think last week there wasn't I don't know if it's trust or whatever, but it looked like last week there wasn't a lot of trust in the defense. It looked like certain players were trying to compensate for other players, and
Yeah.
not saying, yeah, like it just looked like we need to defend as a team. Get that line straight, get up as one, and make them make decisions rather than give them a decision to make. Like if you leave that gap there, we've seen the second try from who was it last week who got the double?
Ricky.
Yeah, Munster slid across too far. He was worried about the ball going out the back to Walsh, and just left a little gap there for Jordan Ricky to run back through on that inside line. And we just need to have the confidence that the man next to you is going to do his job. And if you do that, we can defend as a team, and the gap should shut down.
Agree entirely. One thing, and I'll piggyback again. Sorry to piggyback off you, Aaron, a few times here, but I just think you've made some really good points so far. But one thing that I think is really important is that we need to engage the Cowboys pack. One of the biggest deficiencies the Cowboys have is their pack. They're renowned for being, well, they're being named this year as being very old, slower, bigger bodies, not athletic. One other thing about the Cowboys that everyone's talked about and that you just see everywhere is their lack of defense. So, uh, one thing that you mentioned before is win in the middle, play downhill, north, south, that type of thing. I think if we can engage the pack, the Cowboys pack with Stefano and King, Tui coming through, Liero through the middle there, Harry Grant keeping pressure, and shrink the field and bring all their players in, that can then we can then utilize our weapons on the outside, particularly up on a very hot, fast track up in North Queensland.
100%, 100%. Let's get that middle tired, get them all compact, and then throw the ball, and then use Sewer on the burners outside. But last week we just seemed to go there just on a prayer. We didn't do the hard work in the middle to get there. So punch in behind the ruck with Trent, with Kingy, with Tui if he's on. Let's really gas that middle tired out, and then as they compact, then we throw the ball and we score rather than just going out there on a prayer hoping.
Let's talk some. Is there anything else on attack that you've got in your notes, Aaron?
I put their smart fifth tackle options. I thought last week, mate, we just got to the fifth and just put it in the air. We didn't even send it deep. We didn't go for the corners. I really didn't think we thought about our fifth tackle options much. It was more just get it up and hope for the best. So maybe a little bit more planning on what we're going to do with the ball on the fifth, where we want them to finish up, and then how we're going to defend that, because it looked like it was a secondary thought last week, what the plan was after we've kicked it.
Yeah. Do you think that was more so who the ball ended up in the fifth and where they were on that fifth tackle? Like it got caught a lot in Munster's hands, didn't it?
But yeah, I thought, not saying he's not a good kick, but if you give me a choice, I'll get the ball to Hughesy and I'll give him that kick. He can send it high
Every time.
as many times as we can, But last week it seemed to end up in Munster's hands a lot. I don't think that would have been by design. I think that would have been by pressure from the Broncos or us not playing to the game plan. So, I just think we've got to be smarter about that and end with Doozy with the ball, in a good spot where he wants it so that he can put it deep into the corners and then we can defend. But last week we didn't see that.
I'll start us off on some defense. I think one of the things that has really struck out to me early, and obviously this is a bit of an NRL thing, but we just haven't, which is unlike us, but haven't seemed to adjust to the rule changes and some of the officiating. We have to play smart. We've got to stop the set restarts. We've got to stop those errors in terms of penalties and things like that. Cowboys are going to do this themselves. That's what they do. But if we continue if we give them set restarts, this is where your Dearden speed, your Purdue speed, your Taulagi on the wing, your Drinkwater, these types of guys. And even then, as much as people don't rate him, Clifford's not a bad halfback in terms of a game manager. If we give set restarts and allow that speed and Clifford to game manage that speed, we're going to be in trouble most weeks, let alone against the bottom of the ladder teams.
For sure. No, he's not a bad player, Clifford. I don't mind him at all, to be honest.
The other side of it, I was talking around defense is the quick line speed. So we're going to have to get in early. Their forward pack is not great, but if Taumalolo gets a roll, he's hard to stop. He's still a wrecking ball even at his age with how good he is. I think we just need to really push up early offline speed. I can almost categorically guarantee from a few whispers that I've heard that this weekend the refs are going to or are going to be a little bit more aware of teams being offside, leaving the 10 early. So, but I think against this team, quick line speed, we've got to get in early. That way, then we can, I suppose, limit the speed that Drinky and the like have that we've sort of spoken about a few times. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Oh, definitely put the pressure on, get in their face, and make them make decisions under pressure. That's definitely one thing. And as you said, with the forwards, Taumalolo may be getting older, but last week, he played 50 minutes, had 15 runs for 173 metres, and he looked great. Not the JT of old, but definitely he played a good game. And he's one of those players that if he gets on top of you and he plays downfield, people will get on the back of him. He's a leader, and if we don't get him under wraps and lose the contact and don't get him to ground, I really think he can get them playing downhill. And Reid Marnie, I mean, people may not like him, but he's a quality hooker, and if they play downhill, he'll find the right man, and they will be dangerous. They've got firepower, that's for sure. So it's we do need to win that battle of middle, slow those guys down, and that will go a long way to us taking the 2 points, I think.
I just want to reiterate absolutely that errors and set restarts have been the bane of us in the last 3 weeks, and we've been able to get away with the two lower teams, more than likely not going to make finals, and get away with it. And against the Broncos, it just the repetitiveness of that, just and giving them the ball in good field position. Good teams will dominate that. Will dominate that and hurt us. We have to adapt. It blows my mind that we haven't seen tape. I wonder if there's a little bit of a whisper, or not a whisper, but a direction in the sheds around. Well, eventually they'll give in. If we keep doing it, they'll just stop and they'll get back to it. It's just a fad that the refs are doing at the moment. But it cost us a bit. It didn't cost us, but it certainly did not help us last week.
Yeah, and Broncos, they got some momentum last week, and like we're on the back foot, and it really took them to get in front for us to realise that we need to switch on. So people are saying this week that we had we should have had the Broncos, or this is Storm people, we should have had them, we went to sleep or whatever. But you got to remember the Broncos attack, when they click, they're one of the best attacks in the comp. Ben Hunt is a gun leader. He got them around the park. He put them in the right spots, and they carved us up in the spots where we're pretty green, to be honest. So that edge over there with Munster, with Alec, with who else is on the inside there? Yeah,
and Leo.
Mamini, yeah, and Leo, yeah, it's just a green edge. So I think this week, I really think the Cowboys are going to target him there as well, man.
Yeah. I think every team will target us that way. It's been shown in the past, even last year and the year before, that that side is just that's our weak point. Um, Anything else you want to add defensively that we need to do for our blueprint to beat the Cowboys this weekend before I move on?
Um, no, my main point there was just to defend as a team. I mean, last week didn't look like there was a lot of trust. I think we were trying to overcompensate for the people or the gaps we didn't have, and I think that's why the Broncos picked us apart for that 20-minute period there. So I just think if they beat us and we're all linked up and they beat us when we're communicating and staying together, so be it. But if you leave a gap there or you try and overcompensate for the person next to you, it just gives them a chance to score. So for me, it's about trusting everyone around you and just playing that solid line and going for it that way.
I think that's a really good point. Let's move into something that I've been pretty keen to do. So the community questions. So we've got a couple there. I'm going to skip one. Phil Ross, you've made a really good question, and we got into there and had a bit of a chat. And I want to roll that into a bit of a segment that we're starting, which is called "What Really Grinds My Gears," and we're going to do that on the well, we'll do it at the review show, not the preview show. But you've asked a really good question. So, Phil, I'm not, we're not ignoring you, but you will get that one on the next episode when we do a little bit of a what grinds my gears. And I'm excited about that one, Aaron.
Yeah, I'd like to hear some people's thoughts on what grinds their gears. We're not going to sit here and shut down what grinds your gears, because if it grinds your gears, it grinds your gears. And some things grind my gears and it won't grind your gears. But it's going to be good to see what's getting up people's noses, I suppose.
So that's an exciting one. So, Phil, that will be said. I won't ignore that. I've screenshotted that. I've already written it in my notes for our review show, so that'll come up. Um, Got a good one here by Tyler Gench, I'll say. And he's written, Aaron, unpopular opinion. I think our left edge needs a little shake-up. I feel like teams are targeting our left edge defensively as of late. Although Meany is very safe under a high ball, a sense of slight disconnect between him and Moses is in defence. Means has great defensive reads in the centres, but maybe struggles to connect with Moses out on the wing. I do believe we beat the Cows with any combination on that edge. Personally, I would throw Means back to four and Brown on the wing. See how that goes before we head into some tough games on coming weeks. Let me know your thoughts, possibly overthinking everything after a Friday night loss.
I don't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing Tumaladu Brown on the wing. You get a bit of height there, which might be beneficial this week. I mean, you're coming up against a tall winger, so I think that's not a bad idea. On the other end of the argument there, who you going to move Moses from centre, or where you going to put Moses? I think I don't know. I don't think you move him out of there at the moment. I think you give him a chance to grow.
For me, it reads as in Moses probably ends up moving to the bench, or if not out of the team entirely, means back to the centre, and he puts Brown into that wing position. I mean, that's probably how it's going to be when Coates gets back. Means
Missed
moves
a few.
back into the centres.
Moses missed a few tackles last week. I don't know how many, but I think he missed 4 or 5 tackles last week. But I mean, he was also under the pump, and he was also had people around him that were. I'm not blaming it on the other people, but the edge wasn't working, and the Broncos were targeting it. So, and they're a quality outfit. They're the premiers. So, if you look at the people around him, they missed tackles too. So, I don't know. Maybe you're right, because as you said, Meany will come back in there once we get X back.
Yeah. I understand what Tyler's saying here, though. Like, for a good 18 months, maybe even longer than that, probably 2 years, since at least 2023, we've been talking around that side and that edge and how poor defensively. In Supercoach conversations, I'm sorry to bring that up again, but in a lot of Supercoach conversations, we talk about, and I have mentioned plenty of times around who's playing against the Storm left side, and if they are, I'd be playing them, or getting them in or targeting them, for draft leagues and things. It's definitely something that has done the rounds for a long time that we just haven't been able to shore up. So I think what Tyler's saying is absolutely valid, and something that a lot of people are saying. What the fix is, I just don't know just yet.
When Sean Bloor comes back, like he's a pretty good defender. When he gets in there, there might be a little bit more confidence there in the second row. I don't think Alec was too bad last week, but he's not a second rower.
No.
I don't think he's ever lined up for the Storm second row except for last week. I think I checked the stats, and that was his first game in the second row for the club. So, that's one point. And then the other point is when Cooper Clark came on last week, he was on the inside there. And again, he's only played 2 or 3 games of first grade footy. So it is a very green edge. But the best thing about footy is next week you get to try and fix up what happened the week before. And there would have been a lot of conversations in the sheds about what the Broncos did to that left edge last week in that 20-minute period. Now, I don't think it was bad all game, but it was bad for, we did get 3 tries all down that edge, which, it's concerning. So, as I said, the best part about footy is there's always next week.
Until it's round 27, and then there isn't a next week unless you're in finals.
I know, and then you crawl into a ball for 6 months and wait for next year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is from Grant. I'm going to say Bedot. I'm not going to go Bedot because it just doesn't sound as posh and niche. So I'm going to go Grant Bedot. Sorry if I said that wrong, mate. Get into the DMs there and scream at me if I did. I apologize. But Grant says not a TLT question, which is fine because we actually said let it out. Let us talk to it. Let's have a community conversation. But not a TLT question. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on which outside backs are a genuine option to chase for 2027. A goal kicker is a must too. My pick would be Jake Avarillo. I just think that it's a player we need to purchase. If Eli does not return and needs to medically retire, I reckon our best option is to put Howarth into the second row for 2027 and Avarillo to centre, which covers our bases if Brick decides to go to the Was. Although I don't know if he has turned them down because they're going pretty hard for Ando, which they're going hard for Ando because it's a bit of a player swap for the Barnett in a bit of a trade, and that sort of thing. But what's your thoughts there, Aaron?
There's a fair bit to digest there. I don't know who we go for a kicker next year, but I think it is important. I've seen Harry taking kicks last week. I don't think we're going to send Harry out there to kick next year. I mean, he kicked 2 from 2 or 3 from 3, but they were all.
I mean, pretty easy to make when they're in front of the goals.
I was going to say, you shouldn't miss when you just got to throw them over the sticks.
Yes.
So, look, I don't mind Avarillo. It's not a bad call. I think he's a pretty solid player, and I also think he's finding it hard to get into his side at the moment. So, that's a chance. Look, you've put me on the spot. I'm not sure with the kicker. Do we have anyone that's coming through that is a kicker? I just don't know.
Not that I know of that's like meany talent wise. Nor do I think that like there is a couple of kickers that we've got in our resis, but they're not going to jump in front of like one of them's a halfback. I'm pretty sure, and that's Hughes's spot, so he's not going to jump into there like. That's the problem. This is where that Lomax would have been perfect because we could throw him on the wing or in the centres where he wants to be, but he's a good kicker, so we could have had that. I'm a bit concerned about that point next year, and I haven't had a good look because from what I can see, there's nothing in the wings or anyone talking about wanting to leave or is off contract from what I can remember. I love the shout out of Avarillo. Unfortunately, Avarillo, there's only 4 spots there. And I think it's between it's they've got this other kid, this Nafahu dude who was a stud last year to end the year. He's just a try scoring machine. You've got Asako, you've got obviously Herbie, you've got now Cobbo. Their Bostock is out with a knee injury and he's still to come. So there's like 6 players there vying for 4 positions, and Avarillo is the odd one out. And I think as soon as Bostock's back, Avarillo gets gets booted. So I think he's a good one. He's just got speed to burn. He's a better version of Grant Anderson, I think, in terms of a role player, and I reckon he's a great pickup. I would love for us to go and fight really heavily for a Cobbo. I think Cobbo can move into the centres or into the wing, and he's off contract this year. There's a lot of talk about him going to Perth for big money, but if we could, I think there'd be a smart move for us to get someone like a Cobbo. I'm a big fan of his. Um, that's kind of where I've sort of sat at the moment because I know that there's a few things in the wings for us as well. So I haven't done a lot, but this is a great question. And that unfortunately that's all the questions, but obviously this is the first time we've done it, and we only posted it this morning, so 4 questions is more than enough, and we'll do the next one for the Grind My Gears on our review show, which I think we'll do Sunday because we play Saturday night, eh? So we'll do a Sunday. Anything else you want to add to any of that, Aaron?
Um, no, nothing overly. I think now that we're coming into this game against, the cows that are, 1 and 2 now, and we're the other way around, 2 and 1. This game, although cows aren't expected to play finals and are lower down the ladder, I think this game becomes really important. And I think you'll see the club really put some onus on their performance this week after dropping out of that game for 20 minutes last week. And like, I don't think we were that bad against the Broncos, really, except for a 20-minute period where our edge just, I wouldn't say go to sleep, but we just got picked apart by a team that was holding the ball. They'd gone 16 from 16 sets or something in that second half. So, this game becomes a really big one. We need to be 3-1 and we need to be thinking about what's ahead because the games after this weekend get really hard really fast. So this is a really big one, and hopefully we see our leaders stand up, Harry, Money and Jerome, and really steer the ship.
Couldn't agree more with you. There has been just one question that's come through, Aaron. So I'll do this one and then we'll end the show. So what's the one selection? This is from Shannon McIntyre. What's the one selection in this game that could decide the game against the Cowboys? Either the move that wins it for us or the one that could backfire.
Look, I'm a big Trent fan. I'm a big Trent fan. I want to see Trent get 60 minutes every week, and I want to see him control the ruck. So if Trent can get in there and control the ruck, it gives Harry a chance to play footy. So I think the biggest decision is putting Trent back into the 13 and then just using Tui off the bench as that 20-minute player who can just punch up and just tire those middles just so that Harry can get playing downfield. So for me, it's Trent controlling the ruck, tiring out the middle, and then going to work and then finding our backs. So that's what I think that's our biggest go-to this game.
Yeah, good point. I really think the last 3 weeks and then the way we ended last year off the back of this guy is Stefano and the importance he has on our list and what he does for our team. I think that selection of him. Sorry, that's my phone dropping. Well, so I've got questions. The He's just been a monster. And he needs to continue to be a monster for us. He's basically the head of the snake now, in terms of that forward pressure and keeping that. And if he can get 150 meters and break a few tackles and break that line a couple of times, that's just only going to then free up Harry so that he can do his quick play of the balls. And then the whole list just fires in terms of a sewer and stuff like that. So I think Stefano for me is the biggest and most important selection.
I think another one there is, like as I said before, we only used 16 interchange last week. Davey didn't get a run. So I think getting Davey on the field and giving him a specific role of bashing the middle and straightening us up might be a chance to that allow us to throw the ball. It gives us, if we bash the middle up, then we can play footy. But last week we just tried to play footy when I don't think we'd earned it. We just thought we could throw it and get around them, and Broncos just slid out and back, and they just sent us to the line. I think they took us out twice over the sideline there, and we just kept going back and just asking for more. Where I think we've got to earn that right, which is Stefano, Kingy, get Davey in there. I think you could even put Hetherington in this week, and you could give him a role, and you just say punch the middle, mate. I don't think that'd be a bad option. Just get him in there and say, mate, go bananas, and that could be what we need. Get
I
Harry
think that's a
downfield.
great call. I love that. We're particularly going to need to use the bench this weekend, Aaron, because we're obviously up in North Queensland and it's hot as hell. But also there's some big storms, thunderstorms even. So Saturday night, 6:30 for Queensland time. It says here it's got a 80% chance of a thunder shower. So that bench is going to be vital for some help on this weekend. Um, that's it for us. So content that's coming for this week. So we've got a couple of key matchups to come out, our purple blueprint. So keep your eyes open for that. Aaron, you've got an article coming. Do you want to give a bit of a title or do you want to keep it a secret?
Look, the article is about Jerome Hughes. Basically, there's no title yet, but basically, I've written one about Jerome and his his rise through the ranks and how important he is to the team now, and yeah, well, that should come out probably, what's today? Yeah, probably Thursday, I reckon. We'll get that up.
Yeah, nice. So keep your eyes out for that. Matt and from Chip and Chase has his article and he's going to produce that. So I think he's going to look at trying to get that to us on Friday. So either that comes out on Friday or we might push it to the Sunday for a nice little coffee. Where I will admit I've looked at the Facebook insights and you guys are loving the articles, like with thousands of views on them. So, and that's not a word of a lie. I've got screenshots of it because I'm sending it to sponsors. So yeah, there are definitely people loving those articles. So you are privileged to get them from the Purple Rain. We're only young, but we are booming. So that's for content. Again, please like, subscribe, do all that free stuff. Get in there, chat, engage with us. We are, whilst we're certainly at the smaller end, we are able to get into a lot more in-depth conversations with people because we have a lot more time. So get in there and say your things and talk to us and do all that. And it's free. All you have to do is invest a bit of time to help us. So that would be fantastic. And if you are interested in a sponsorship of some sort, let us know. Talk to us. We haven't put sponsorship packages together or anything like that because we didn't really think we'd get to this point. But look, we're happy to talk. We'll see what we can do. We're almost clicked over 100,000 parts of engagement already in 2.5 to almost 3 weeks. So we are absolutely flying. So we're certainly happy to grow with you. So yeah, that's it for me. And anything else you want to end on there, Aaron?
Nah, just let's get back on the winners list this week, mate. It's been a bit of a dragging me feet all week, so we're due for a win.
Yeah, it's been over a week since we've had one, so we need it. Thank
It's
you,
hard being a
everybody.
Storm
Have a
fan.
wonderful
Hard
go,
being a
man.
Storm
Go.
fan. 1 week and you feel like you're missing out on wins. That's how bad's that?
Yeah, shocking, shocking. We have high
Shocking.
expectations. We have high
That's it.
expectations in the Purple Army. Thank you. That's the Purple Rain boys. Like, subscribe, follow. Have a great evening, or morning, whenever it is that you get this, and talk to us in the socials. Thank you very much.